Silver and Black Nation. What's up, Silver and Black Nation? I'm unmuted. I'm ready to go here. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday. French Fry Friday, baby, with the Bat Frie. Silver and Black, baby, kicking it off great last week. The new era, the new regime interim, interim basis. But there's nobody out there. I can tell you right now, nobody, Raider fan or not, Giants fan, NFL fan, football fan, nobody predicted that the Raiders were going to win the way they did last week. Now, you could have predicted they were going to win. Like I talked about last week, getting that interim coach bump and stuff like that. Just getting the negativity out of the locker room, out of the organization. So you figured there might have been a little bit of a pick me up. I was picturing a close game. I did think that their offense would score a little bit more points than they have been recently, but I didn't think 30 points. So the Raiders do beat the Giants 30-6. And it was an all-around effort. Great effort by everybody, top to bottom. Special teams rocking it, defense, offense. It was just it was a relief. Even if it's just for 1 week. Just the misery that we've been in since last season. Since we made the hiring of Josh McDummy. It's just it's like deep breath. Like I said, even if it's just for a week, we'll take it as Raider Nation. We'll take it even if it's just for a week. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like when you go out and sometimes in the wintertime you go out there and it's cold out, but it's fresh though. It's a nice fresh air. It's cold, but it's fresh. It was nice to watch. It was good. I got a comment here. We got our boy Adam. What's up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining the show. Here on Fantastic Fry Friday, right? Triple F. French Fry Friday. Fantastic Fry Friday. All that good stuff. So like I said, 30-6. The Raiders came out, defense from the start, dominating. The unfortunate part was Daniel Jones getting hurt. I like Daniel Jones. I hate to see him get hurt, especially ACL. Now if it's something like a rib or whatever. He's a quarterback. You're going to hurt your ribs. But the ACL, him dropping back, I think he rolled out to his right, planted a little bit, and you can see it buckle. He goes down. I don't know who got credit for that sack. I don't know if it was Max or not. But then, I think that was the end of the first quarter. Comes out first play, second quarter, takes 3 or 4 steps in a drop back and just goes down. So it's such a bummer to see. Like I said, I'm a Daniel Jones fan. A lot of pressure on him. A lot of it's you want that big contract. It's going to come with a lot of pressure, and so far this season he hasn't been living up to it. And so now you kind of hit the reset button and look forward to next season. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Injuries are part of the game. I don't think Daniel Jones has to worry about losing his job. It's the Giants, after Daniel Jones got hurt, the rest of that first half was just non-existent for the Giants. They couldn't block. They couldn't stop the Raiders on defense. So, the Giants were just kind of almost like they kind of, we're out. We're done. We're going to head back to New York. But Giants give credit. They were down 24, I think 24-3 or something like that. It was 24-0, I guess. Yeah, in the first half. And they came out second half and they played a lot better. Danny DeVito, what's his name? Tommy DeVito, I think it is. He came out second half and he played much better. He did play much better. He's efficient. So it's one of those things sometimes when you have a quarterback come in after injury, sometimes they go out there and they light it up. They're hot right off the start. And sometimes, they stumble at some out of the gates. And, I feel like that's what happened with DeVito. He kind of stumbled out of the gates. The Giants were kind of still trying to catch their footing. The Raiders were all over him early. Kind of like, when you first wake up, like you wake up in a panic. Like if you're late for work. You wake up in a panic, you're rushing around, you're dropping stuff, you're trying to put your pants on, you're missing a leg. It's like, where the hell are my socks at or my underwear? Did I even put underwear on today? You don't know. All right, hang on a second. wipe the eye boogies out of your eyes. Okay, I'm wearing underwear. Let's go to work. So it's kind of like that. The Giants did play much better in the second half, but the Raiders were able to keep them out of the end zone except for that one touchdown. And that was the best their defense looked all season. 8 sacks, a couple interceptions, 3 sacks by Mad Max, interception by Amik Robertson, and I don't remember who had the other one right now off the top of my head. Amik Robertson. I don't think it was Trayvon Merrick, was it? I don't think so. Nate Hobbs. It was Nate Hobbs. That's right. Nate Hobbs back from injury. Got a couple comments here. Let me hit them up. We got there he is, the mayor of Las Vegas, Rob Hefner. What's up, brother? A beautiful day there in the Vegas Valley. Happy McDaniels is gone. I'm as ecstatic that McDaniels is gone. Like I said, sometimes that first week you kind of expect. Sometimes not every time, but I'd say more often than not, you get that little bit of an uplift when you have an interim coaching. Like when a bad regime leaves, he gets fired. Sometimes it's a good coach that everybody likes. He gets fired because the players just aren't performing. Well, this was just totally opposite. It was totally opposite. It seemed like everybody wanted him gone, and it kind of lifted him up a little bit. So you kind of expect that little bit of a bump, but it was more than I expected. Absolutely, it's just so happy to see that, to hear that he's gone. The city is gone. Dave Ziegler, on the other hand, he's the one that brought McDaniels in. I think that's how it went. I think they hired Ziegler first, then McDaniels. Or it was McDaniels and Ziegler. It doesn't matter what it was. They're both gone. Ziegler, some moves, not too bad, but it seems like McDaniels was calling most of the shots with personnel, as which is evident by the amount of Patriots that are on the team. And there was a rumor going around, a couple different podcasts I heard, and a couple posts I seen on Raiders Twitter there, where it was that they had that big team meeting. I guess it was after. Was it after the? No, I think it was before the Detroit game. They had before the Detroit game, after the Chicago game. They had a big team meeting. Clear the air kind of thing, and basically it was everybody one after another getting up and ripping apart Josh McDaniels. From senior team leaders to team captains. Just top to bottom. Pretty much ripping McDaniels apart, and McDaniels, from everything I've been hearing, been reading and listening to on podcasts, McDaniels just, squirming in his chair, and he has Pierce step up on his behalf, and Antonio Pierce gets up and gives like a rousing speech, about we need to create our own culture, we believe you can win. You look back at the Giants when they beat the Patriots, and stuff like that. Nobody expected much from us, and we go out there and beat the best team in the league. Well, that didn't make McDaniels happy. I guess McDaniels pulled AP off to the side afterwards and told him never to talk about the Patriots like that again. Somebody's still stuck in the past there, all right? I mean, he wasn't a Patriots coach. He was a Raiders coach, and he's still worried about what people might be saying about the Patriots. It kind of makes sense when you bring all these Patriots in, whether it's, Jimmy G, Hoyer, Jacoby Myers, who has worked out very well for us, a couple other running backs. It's just, defensive people. It's just across the board, Patriot after Patriot after Patriot getting jobs. And, some have worked out, most have not. So, and in key positions. So I'm just glad to see Josh McDaniels go. And the one bummer about the whole story about him, about that whole team meeting is that it's actually getting out about what happened in the team meeting or what was said in the team meeting, which I think is nonsense. That stuff should not be out. That should be kept in-house and amongst the team. So that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Will the Raiders win this week? I think the Raiders will win. I think it's going to be a tougher game. Like I said, it's just week one. It is what there's a whole lot of unknowns. Now the second week of this interim coaching staff, rookie quarterback, the Jets have film. Jets have more film on it. Kind of have an idea what Bo Hardegre is going to do, and Antonio Pierce, what kind of a coach he is. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if the Raiders are able to switch it up or not, or what kind of a adjustments they make. That's what I should say. What kind of adjustments will they make? Danny says, are the Raiders that good or do the Giants just suck? The Raiders are not that good. 30 points. They do have talent. The Raiders do have talent. I thought the Giants defense was much better. You can't turn the ball over. I don't know how many of the points the Raiders got off of those two interceptions. You can't turn the ball over. And all those sacks, just setting them back so far behind the sticks. It is, I don't think the Giants are a bad team. There is some talent on the Giants, just, having a really rough go of it. And, I think the Giants will be better next year. I really do. I thought the Giants would be a playoff team again this year. And I think, the offensive line is kind of in shambles right now. Defensively, they're not a bad team. How the Raiders got 30 points on them. Like I said, a couple of times they had short fields, turn the ball over, so they have extra possessions. So, but I don't think the Giants suck. I just think they were kind of wishing to be back on the East Coast. If that game is played in New York, it might be a little bit different, but I don't know. Giants got outplayed. Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%. I love Pierce. I absolutely, I didn't know. I knew Antonio Pierce as a player and stuff like that, but he was coached in other places, not as a head coach. Like high school, he was the head coach, but in college, an assistant coach, and the professionals assistant coach. So I didn't know what to expect from him, but everything I've been hearing, I really like Antonio Pierce. I really like his the culture he's bringing, his mentality and stuff like that. It's like I said before, it's a fresh what's a breath of fresh air? Yeah, a breath of fresh air, not a fresh of breath air. That doesn't make any sense. So yes, I really do like him. I do like what he's bringing to the team so far. Like we'll see what happens through the rest of the season. There's still a lot of football we played yet, and the Jets this week they're 4-4, so this has huge. I don't want to say playoffs. Going Jim Moore here, playoffs, but I don't want to go that far to it. But the Jets are 4-4 and currently ahead of the Raiders technically by percentage points in the playoffs. So if you want to take that step and continue to drive forward, you got to go through that. And then also you got Kansas City, Miami. I think Miami, then Kansas City, or however it goes. And I think Minnesota after the bye. So it's going to get increasingly tougher. We have Kansas City twice yet. So, but it's if our defense, if the Raiders defense can show up, the way it did against the Giants, anything can happen. Anything, get those turnovers, protect the ball. Come out with a nice plus rating instead of a minus in the turnover department, which is huge. Because with Jimmy G at quarterback, every single game it's an interception. Every single game, the other team's getting multiple extra possessions. So it's it was nice to see Aiden O'Connell protect the football the way he did, and not turn over, whether it was through fumble or interceptions. Because you remember back to his first start against the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. He had 2 interceptions. I think it was 2 interceptions, and I think there was like 2 or 3 fumbles as well. He was sacked 7 times, 6 by Khalil Mack. The Raiders still had a chance to win that game. They did have the ball deep in San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. And I switched them. They did have the ball deep in Chargers side of the field, and instead of running the ball, they decided to pass the ball, throw an interception. Why, I have no idea, because the Raiders were running the ball fairly well against the Chargers that game, despite all of the sacks and all the nonsense that was going on. I want to see how DeVito does versus Dallas, but Raiders played well. They did. It's surprisingly well. They were hyped up for the game. They were ready for that game. The whole, like I said, like a weight being lifted off their shoulders. You could hear it. So I listened to a whole bunch of interviews throughout the week before the game, and you could just hear it in their voices. Like how excited they were to play against the Giants, how excited they were that McDaniels was gone. They didn't say McDaniels was gone, but how excited they were for a new regime to be in there. It just felt like a weight was lifted off of them. A window was open, a door was open, for them to play football. Not have to, like Hunter Renfrow said, walk on eggshells. It takes that. You hear about the Patriot way, and when you hear Patriot Way, you hear like you think like the first thought that comes to your head is very businesslike. We're there to do a job, and that wasn't for that team. That team did not like the Patriot Way. They did not want to be walking around like a business. They're the Raiders. They want to be the Raiders. Antonio Pierce out of Compton. He's an LA guy, California guy. Perfect fit right now. Like I said, we'll see what he does the rest of the season, but the first go at it, really impressed, really liked it. And Bo Hardigree, great job. First time ever calling plays, fantastic. A hell of a job. Giving Josh Jacobs the ball, I think it was 26 times. 98 yards. He did have over 100 yards for the first time this season until he lost. I think it was 3 on the next play. But for one play, it was over 100 yards. DeVito ran into a few sacks. Yeah. And then that's, the pocket collapsing, him looking for a way out. And, and that's stuff he's going to learn is how to kind of like creep up into the pocket or feel the pressure and able to go away from it. And like I said, he started off really bad when he first came in the second quarter. There's a whole shock to it. Danny Dimes is out. You're in there. The Raiders are coming after you. But then the second half, he was very efficient. He took care of the ball for the most part. I don't remember if his interceptions came in the first half or second half, but for the most part, he took care of the ball. I don't remember what his stats were. I think I have them written down, or do I not? No, I do. He was 15 of 20. 15 of 20, 175, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So sacked 6 times. So he was efficient once he kind of calmed down, relaxed, got into the groove. And, now granted, the Raiders did have a big lead, so they were kind of sitting back a little bit. They weren't pressing as hard as they were. They weren't blitzing as much as they were. But he was still getting the ball out, still getting the ball where he had to get it. So I think DeVito, he's going to play a little bit better as he gets a couple starts under his belt, if they continue with DeVito or not. You can check Danny out on real quick. Danny. You can check him out on Big Blue Power Hour this Sunday, 11 a.m., talking New York Giants football. He's also on Joystick Junkies, I believe, on Mondays. I'm not sure the time. I think it's like 4 or 4:30. And Rangers on Ice. So make sure you check out the Rangers on Ice at Talking New York Rangers hockey. So make sure you check Danny out on all of his shows. Good stuff. Katie Spencer. What's up, Katie? How you doing? Hopefully, I agree. Hopefully, the Raiders will win. Yeah, that's fingers are crossed. And if I could cross my toes, I would. I got brontosaurus feet. I can't cross those toes. It's impossible. Like an elephant. I have several characteristics of an elephant. I'm wide like an elephant. I had elephant feet, and that's about where it stops, I guess. I don't have memory like an elephant. I don't have a trunk like an elephant, if you know what I mean. Do you think the Raiders played on emotion somewhat? Absolutely, 100%, especially early on. Now that stuff wears out. That stuff you can't. I don't know if I've ever seen a team play on pure emotion throughout a whole game. But in the beginning, first quarter, first half, absolutely. You go into the second half, you go into halftime, kind of sit, see what you've done. That adrenaline starts wearing off, that emotion starts wearing down. You kind of come out a little bit flat, which is what they did. Well, I think actually they came out with a decent drive in the second half, but it went to a field goal. I think it was like a 14-play drive, but I could be wrong with that. It feels like that game's been weeks ago already. So I believe that they came out high on emotions, really excited, really jacked for the game. It's probably the first time they've came out like that since probably since San Francisco last season when they played San Francisco. They had that hell of a game against them, just came up short. That was when Derek Carr was sent home, I guess you'd call it. They kind of came off a lot of emotion, a lot of pride. Came up short against the 49ers, which was a good 49ers team. And that's why I said let's see what happens this week against the Jets. A very good defensive team. We'll see how the emotions, how the tempo is this week. The offense held them back. Giants or the Raiders. The Giants, absolutely, the offense held them back. But the offense, like I said, did move the ball in the second half, but only were able to get in the end zone once. You could tell Brian Daboll, he wasn't, he was really, he had the shits of it. He was kind of over it. He was, you get a couple times the head's going, looking up to the sky, and, days like that suck ass, but you know what? It is what it is. Vegas Rob says, my neighbor, the Giants fan, didn't have a good day. No, I'm sure he didn't, especially living in Las Vegas. Glad Jimmy G got benched. I bet Adam Glenn is crying over that one. No, Adam Glenn's not crying. He doesn't care if Jimmy G's benched or playing. He got it right. Jimmy G was going to the Raiders. He said that Devontae Adams is going to I think he said Philly next year, but I could be wrong if he said Philly or not. Adam, if you're still watching, where's Devontae going next year? Your prediction? Devontae's going to get traded? I think he said a team. Stacy, good morning, Stacy. You can check Stacy out Sunday morning, 11 a.m. with Danny and Evan on the Big Blue Power Hour talking New York Giants football. Who do the Giants have this week anyway? I'm not even 100% sure. Yeah, I don't know. Eileen says, hopefully they don't. That's right. You did say the Jets. Yeah, the Jets. You said that you said they were going to trade Devontae Adams to the Jets. I do remember that. Yep, because Aaron Rodgers, who's still trying to get back this season after a torn Achilles, which is unbelievable. The Giants have the Cowgirls. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Eileen. Cowboys. Eileen says, I hope your Raiders don't win. Oh, that's right. The Jets. Yeah, there we go, Eileen. Yeah, okay. I'm like, you said hopefully they don't. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? Who hopefully doesn't do what? Eileen's if you guys don't know, Eileen is a Jets fan. Jets, Jets. My oldest brother, he's a Jets fan. My uncle's a Jets fan. He has season tickets to the Jets. And my mom, she was a Jets fan. So I'm surrounded by some Jets. I know there's quite a few times I go over to my brother's house back in the early 2000s to watch the Raiders and Jets in the playoffs, and the Raiders would thoroughly whoop their ass. So that was always a lot of fun. But then the only time I ever got to see the Raiders play in a game was up at MetLife Stadium, JetLife Stadium, and the Jets throttled them. I think it was 34-3 or something like that. It was unbelievable. That was a long day, I'll tell you that. But I do hope the Raiders win, not the Jets. Rob says Jimmy G will be cut this offseason. That's my prediction. Take that, Adam Glenn. I wouldn't doubt it. The only problem with that is what kind of salary cap hit the Raiders will have to take because of that. Because I do believe they're talking about a hit, and there is going to be a salary cap hit if something would if they get cut, or I don't even know if traded. I don't know if that's it or released or whatever. But I think one of the reasons why Jimmy G is benched and will not play unless something crazy happens, unless Aiden O'Connell does get hurt, is he kind of has that same clause that Derek Carr did last season, where if he gets hurt, he gets paid the majority of his contract anyway. So that's one of those things, so let's stay on the sideline and don't get hurt. But you know what's going to happen? Jimmy G's going to be standing there on the sidelines looking all pretty and stuff like that, all clean shaven and hair's all done up, little ball cap on, shirt all tucked in, a little towel hanging out like he's going to play. And somebody's going to come out of bounds, roll up on his leg, and he's going to break a leg or something. That's what's going to happen. Or tear an ACL. That's what's going to happen. So he'll get hurt. The Rays will still have to pay him money, and it's going to piss me off. Everyone is just jealous because Raiders and Jets are primetime. That's when they were making the schedule. That I bet they saw, Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy G's a winner. He's a winner. Jimmy G, a winner. Yeah, right. But that's what they thought when they were making this primetime game. They weren't expecting Aiden O'Connell and Zach Wilson. So. Adam Glenn said, that's obvious. That's what the Jimmy G released. Adam, I do believe you are the insider, Adam, or some sort of soothsayer or seer into the future. Eileen says, "Listen, if Jimmy G can stand there looking the handsome, I'm not gonna. You will not. I'm sure they're gonna show him, Eileen. So be ready. You're gonna have the kid on your team that likes to date grandmothers and stuff like that, and then you'll have Jimmy G at the Bunny Ranch. A whole lot of dysfunctionality here, right? Isn't that what Zach Wilson was? He was into to gilfs or grandmas or something like that, or was it just moms, milfs? I don't know. I don't remember what the whole story was behind that. But anyway, so the offensive line for the Raiders looked really good as well. Defensive line, the interior of the defensive line, did get some decent pressure on DeVito and for a lesser extent Jones. But you look at it, Saquon Barkley did have a pretty decent game running the ball, 90 yards, I believe it was, rushing. And they probably would have ran him more if the score wasn't so lopsided. One good thing, Aiden O'Connell, no mistakes, no turnovers. Had a lot of nice passes. Had some passes that were a little bit off target, but also had some passes that were dropped. That's kind of this disappointing. He spread the ball around. Devontae Adams did end up with the most targets, but I don't believe he had a target until the second half. A huge bomb down to Trey Tucker. If he would have stayed on his feet, would have been a touchdown. Beautiful catch, though. And like you said about Josh Jacobs, did actually go over 100 yards for one play and then got tackled in the backfield. So one of the crazy things that had me laughing was this past week, after the game was over, listening to podcasts and stuff like that. They asked Josh Jacobs, did the coaching staff come to you at all and ask you what plays do you like to run? He goes, yeah. He goes, they did. They actually did. They pulled me aside, said, how can we help you? What plays? What scheme do you like to run? What running plays benefit you the most? Imagine that, going to your star player saying, how can I help you? Instead of, Josh McDaniels, my system's just so complicated, people can't grasp it. What an ass clown. It really, that stuff just bothers the shit out of me. And I've said this before. I said it last season when Derek Carr was struggling. And the system. Well, he doesn't know the system yet. If your system's that hard, maybe you're an ass clown. Maybe you need to simplify it or work to your players' strengths. That you're there to guide them into better situations, and they're there to make you look good. So why? Well, my system's just complicated. That's asinine. That's so stupid. It does that thought process does not make any sense to me at all. So it's just. Yeah, I'm glad that's gone. It's refreshing to see coaching staff come to the player who, for all intents and purposes, is struggling this year. From rushing champion of this year to struggling, to get 2.5 yards a carry, and saying, how can we help you? What plays do you like? What runs do you do better in? What kind of blocking scheme and all that stuff? And he gave the info out. It was great. He looked almost like the old Josh Jacobs, almost. His 26 carries for 98 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. Not quite what Josh Jacobs was last year. He was more 4.5 yards per carry. But this has by far been his best game so far carrying the ball. So 2 touchdowns, fantastic. What else do we have here? It was the first time this season his offense scored over 20 points. Now, like I said, I did predict that the offense would score over 20 points. I didn't think it would be in the first half. But with that said, they did score over 20 points against who was it? They beat them. It doesn't matter. But there was a defensive safety at the end of the game to give them 21. But the offense has not scored 21 points until last week. And they were able to put up 30 points. So that was good to see. Max Crosby, 3 sacks, like I said, a countless number of pressures. He was all over the place. Amik Robertson with a nice interception. The big thing about Amik Robertson's interception was it was deep in Raider territory. But he was able to get up, run that ball. I think to the other side, the Giants, to the Giants 40 or 45 or something like that. So he's able to flip the field. And I think we ended up getting a field goal out of it. So, a huge run back by Amik Robertson. And, it seems like, he comes up with big play after big play week after week. And earlier in that game, he did get benched for, I think it was a holding call. He was either defensive holding or some sort of big penalty that extended a drive. Antonio Pierce pulled him out, sat him down for a couple series, then put him back out there, and he goes out there and makes a huge play. So that was good to see Amik Robertson, able to respond the way he did. So that's good to see. Aiden O'Connell was 16 of 25, 209 yards, an 82.4 QBR. Very efficient. Like I said, no turnovers. Fantastic. Excuse me. Let's see. What else do I got here? I got all sorts of notes written down. I hate forgetting stuff, which I look at my notes and I can't read half of it anyway because it's all scribbled because I write fast and it's nonsense. Jacoby Myers had a rushing touchdown, a couple nice catches as well. The rushing touchdown was really well done. It was kind of slow played it. He how did he like pointing at something, kind of like start going in like slow motion, kind of like walking, and all of a sudden took off in motion, and so they had the player that was I think it was man to man trailing him. It was just too far behind. Jet sweep around the edge, touchdown. That was a nice play call by Bo Hardigree. I'm stuttering now. Hunter Renfrow, 4 targets. I don't know. I don't think that's the most he had this season, but it has to be tied. 2 catches, 32 yards. It was nice to see him get the ball. And it was nice to see him out in the field for snaps as well. So Devontae Adams, 4 catches, 34 yards, 7 targets. Not a whole lot of production out of Devontae Adams. But as long as the Raiders are winning, I think he's cool with that. I think he's fine with that. But we'll see what happens as the season goes on. Trey Tucker, 2 for 52. Like I said, he caught that huge pass downfield. Jacoby Myers, 2 for 38. So nobody with huge eye-popping stats. Again, only 200 yards passing, but efficient. We'll take it all day. No mistakes. We'll take it. Defensive-wise, 8 sacks, 2 interceptions. Mad Max, 3 sacks, 8 tackles, 6 solo tackles. Robert Spillane, a half a sack, 9 tackles, and 5 were solo. Trayvon Merrick, 1 sack, 5 tackles, 5 were solo. Kuntz, our other defensive end, 1 sack, 4 tackles, 4 solo. Tyree Wilson, our rookie, half a sack, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Adam Butler, defensive tackle, big defensive tackle. These guys get pressure upfield, just can't stop the goddamn run. Adam Butler, 1 sack, and Bilal Nichols, again, defensive tackle, 1 sack. So those big guys getting upfield, creating pressure up the middle, just can't stop the goddamn run. Amik Robertson, an interception, and Nate Hobbs, an interception. So, huge plays there. It's great to see Nate Hobbs making a play after coming back from injury. It's good to see him back. Daniel Jones was 4 of 9 for 25 yards, 2 sacks. And Tommy DeVito, 15 of 20, 175, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 6 times. Saquon Barkley, 16 rushes for 90 yards, 5.6 yards per carry. He was looking good. I'll tell you what, I was impressed by Barkley. I thought he was looking good. Overall, the Giants had 25 carries for 123 yards. So not good by the Raiders there. The run defense is really our biggest issue right now. Darius Slayton had 4 catches for 53 yards, 59 yards. The Jets, as a team, had 277 yards total offense. Kept them under 300 yards. I'll take that any day of the week. But it's a great win for the Raiders. Like I said, 30-6. Antonio Pierce gets his first win as Raiders interim coach. Bo Hardigree, again, great job play calling, first time ever. And we'll see what happens this week. They got film on him now. They know what he likes to call in certain situations. Let's see what the Raiders are able to do against the Jets. All right, let's go through a couple of comments here before I hit the Jets up. Vegas Rob says Jimmy G went from Mr. Handsome to the Vegas flop. There we go. That's a good one, Rob. I like that one. Eileen says if the Jets had any balls, they would bench Wilson for Trevor Siemian. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I think Trevor Siemian has beaten the Raiders several times over the years. Yes, MILFs, but they change it to everything else. MILFs, GILFs, DILFs. Yeah, keep it in your pants there, Zach Wilson. Rob says MILFs. I nicknamed Zach Wilson the MILF Hunter. That's right. I do remember that now. Yep. But I don't know the whole story as to how that came about. That's the whole thing. I don't understand where that came from, kind of scenario that was a story for. I don't know. All right. So the Jets, moving ahead to the Jets here. Well, real quick before I do move on, I do have the presentation of Monkey Cold Coffee Player of the Game. And that honor goes to, where is it at? There it is. Josh Jacobs. There we go. Yeah, terrific game. Like I said, the best he's ran all season. He found the hole a couple times, really hit it hard, slow played a couple runs where he waited for the hole to open up. Still did get hit in the backfield a couple times. There was a couple times run into the line, nothing happening. They'll figure it out. I do believe they'll figure it out. We did have one of our tackles, our good-nosed guard. One of our guards were out, Dylan Parham. No, he's a tackle. Yeah, a tackle. Parham was out, so that is what it is. We still had Jermaine Ulemanor, who's started many games for the Raiders. So that's not really an excuse, but it was a nice look for Josh. Like I said, it's the best he's looked since last year. And the only thing I was surprised they didn't throw him the ball at all. That was a kind of a surprise to me. But still, I said last week if he can get between I think it was between 23 to 28 touches in the run game, I said I think the Raiders will win. And if we keep the passes between 20 to 25 for Aiden O'Connell, that means we're doing well. And both guys right on target there. So congratulations to Josh Jacobs on being named the Monkey Cold Coffee Player of the Game. I'm sending you 3 free bags of coffee to your residence. Congratulations. I'm not really doing that. He doesn't watch the show, so he doesn't know. Just to let everybody know. Josh Jacobs is our number 1 fan. No, not really. All right, moving on to the Jets. All right, the 4-4 Jets here against the 4-5 Raiders. Sunday Night Football. All right. What was that? Football night in America. There we go. So about the Jets, offense, really not all that great. Defensively, very good, even though they got knocked around last week against the Chargers. I think there was a whole lot of different things in play in that game. I didn't get to see all of it. I think it was that Monday Night Football last week. I think it was. Not the week before. So I was working. So I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I was score checking. And I don't think the way the game was the whole story. Like the score doesn't tell you how the game, in my opinion, how the game was. I think it was a lot closer than what the score has told. I'm really searching for words there. I can't find the right words. So the offense not looking all that good. But they do have some playmakers. Breece Hall, running back, coming off I think it was ACL last year as a rookie. Garrett Wilson, very good wide receiver, young guy. I don't think is he a rookie this year, Garrett Wilson, or was it last year? I don't know. Alan Lazard, one of the Packers that Aaron Rodgers brought with him on the boat or the wagon, whatever you want to call it. So those are some of the playmakers. They also have a pretty decent tight end. I can't think of his name right now. I didn't write it down either, so that's why I write stuff down. The offense has only had 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games, and out of 8 games this season, they're 4-4. Out of their 8 games this season, they only have 8 touchdowns. So not a high-scoring offense by any stretch of the imagination. So they do score on defense, because they do have some fairly high-scoring games. They scored 30 points, 20-plus points. But I guess, some of that is coming, via defense. Defensively, very good defensively. Sauce Gardner, of course, everybody knows Sauce Gardner, Rookie of the Year last year, first team All-Pro last year. DJ Reed, a very good defensive back as well. Quinnen Williams, CJ Mosley, he's been around for a long while. Quincy Williams, very good. Quentin Jefferson, kind of off to a slow start, but one of the things I did hear Robert Saleh talking about was I think it was Quentin Jefferson. Last year, I think he had 12 sacks or whatever, and this year he's at 0 or no 2. I think it's 2, or is it? I don't remember what. I think it's a half a sack. Do I have it written down? No, I don't. Of course, I didn't write it down. So that's why I don't remember, because I don't write shit down. Anyway, whatever, he has a really low sack total right now, way behind what he was doing last year. But Robert Saleh says it doesn't show you the amount of times that he's the amount of pressure he's putting on the quarterback and just missing sacks. So if you kind of look at his pressures and his quarterback hits and stuff, you kind of see he's just missing it by a step. So he's getting ready to blow up, it seems like. The Jets did have a 3-game winning streak until they ran into the Chargers last week. They beat Denver 31-21. Like I said, they had 31 points there. They beat Philly, one of the best teams in the league, 20-14, and they beat the Giants, barely 13-10, and in overtime. I think the Giants were winning that game as well, late. And before that, they lost to Kansas City 23-20, so they were in that game as well. But like I said, they just got slaughtered by San Diego last year, score-wise, slaughtered 27-6. Looking at some of their stats this year, Zach Wilson, 160 for 267, 160 completions out of 267 attempts, I should say, 1,600 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, so he's kind of a lot like Jimmy G. Breece Hall, 94 carries, 493 yards, 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, 46 catches, 549 yards, 2 touchdowns, which is basically almost the same exact stats as Devontae Adams, if you want to compare it to something. Quentin Jefferson, 4.5 sacks. Jermaine Johnson, 4.5 sacks as well, from a blitzing linebacker, Russian linebacker position. Quincy Williams, 57 solo tackles, which is a lot. Safety Jordan Whitehead, 3 interceptions. He leads the team in interceptions. Sauce Gardner, 0 interceptions. DJ Reed, 0 interceptions, because people don't throw at them. So that's why. And they do throw it, and they break it up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Raiders are able to move the ball. It's gonna have to be on the ground. So looking at the Raiders' tail of the tape, Aiden O'Connell, 50 of 77, 64.9% completion percentage, whereas Zach Wilson's in the 50s. He's like 54% or 55%, I think. So Aiden O'Connell's at 64.9% completion percentage so far. Not bad. 522 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And then, that came in the San Diego game. The touchdown came against the Bears in garbage time. One of those interceptions came against the Chargers, and the other interception against the Bears. Josh Jacobs, 159 carries, 506 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. That's not where he needs to be. We need to get that up higher. 5 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 51 catches, 573 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, 40 catches, 442 yards, 5 touchdowns. Really like what Jacoby Myers is doing. I really like that. Hopefully he stays around for a while. I really do like. I was kind of skeptical about Jacoby Myers, but since day one, he's been fantastic. It helps that Devontae Adams is getting all the attention, and they're leaving Jacoby Myers one-on-one. That's helping. So give credit to Devontae and just attracting all that attention. Max Crosby, 9.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. Meek Robertson, 2 interceptions. Trayvon Merrick, 2 interceptions, 41 solo tackles. And Robert Spillane, our linebacker we picked up from Pittsburgh, could be more than happy. I'm over the moon about Robert Spillane as well. He's played fantastic at linebacker for us, which is usually a pretty weak spot. And we've had a ton of injuries there. But he had 2 interceptions and 39 solo tackles. So I don't know if speaking of injuries at linebacker, I don't know if Luke Masterson and Divine Diablo will be back this week or not. I was looking at the injury report, and their names weren't on it, but it doesn't really mean anything. I think what was it? Was it Masterson? I think was out because of a concussion. I think Diablo was out because of an ankle, maybe. So maybe they'll be back this week. We'll have to wait and see. But Spillane's been fantastic, and they picked up a former Giants linebacker. I can't think of his name right now. They also brought up Bernie, one of their draft picks from this past season. So it's good to see him get some playing time. The first playing time of the season was last 2 games against Detroit and against the Giants. 6 tackles each game. So yeah, nice start. For the linebacker from Florida. The keys to victory, I think, for the Raiders this week is to run the ball again. Run the ball against the Jets. They're near the top against the pass in the league. I think they're like top 3 or 4 against the pass, but they're down at the bottom, bottom 2 or 3 against the run, giving up, I don't remember what the exact total was, like 130 yards per game rushing. So if the Raiders are able to expose that, get Josh Jacobs rolling early, that's going to open up a little bit in the passing game. And this is one of those games, again, where I think if Josh Jacobs is able to get to, 25, 20, 26, 27 carries, maybe even get a couple carries to Zeus. And I think the Raiders will have a really strong chance of winning. If they're able to keep Aiden O'Connell, again, 20 to 25 passing attempts, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, fantastic, I think. And, I think that's the way to go with it right now, especially against a Jets team, like I said, is very good against the pass. And so offensively, the Raiders need to stop the run. We need to run the ball. We need to stop the run. Breece Hall is going to look to run all over us because we are near the bottom also against the run. And I don't think we're as low as the Jets were. I don't remember exactly. I think the Jets were like 27, 28, and we were like 26, 25, somewhere around there. So only like a yard or 2 difference. It wasn't a whole lot of a difference. So the Raiders need to, first and foremost, stop the run, make Zach Wilson beat you. Make Zach Wilson throw the ball. They're not afraid to throw. They're absolutely not afraid to throw, which is kind of surprising because Zach Wilson gets a lot of guff. So it's kind of surprised that they're throwing as much as they are. But his last 3 games, he's thrown the ball 49 times, 36 times, 33 times. And with a running back, like a Breece Hall, I'm kind of surprised, just keep giving him the rock, but he's only getting 15, 16, 17 times a game. It's a little bit surprising to me. And also Dalvin Cook. I don't know if he's healthy or not, but yeah, you also have a weapon like Dalvin Cook. For some reason, I feel like he's hurt, but I'm not sure. I didn't see him on the Jets injury list at all, which isn't a final injury list. I think that won't be out until probably Sunday. So looking ahead, the Jay Fine Law defensive player to watch for this game against the Jets, I'm going with Amik Robertson. Because if the Raiders are able to stop the run, look for the secondary to make a play. The secondary has been actually pretty decent this year, surprisingly. It seems like every single week Marcus Peters drops an interception, so he's there. Just got to start catching those balls. And Amik Robertson has been, like I said earlier in the show, Amik Robertson has been coming up with big play after big play after big play in big times. And whether it's a tackle, a fumble recovery, or an interception, he's been there. He's been, just knocking a ball away. So, or tight coverage. So he's played very well when given the opportunity. So I'm very, very happy for Amik. As a guy that we drafted, I think back in 18 or 19, nobody wanted. Nobody wanted him. I think we drafted him late, like 4th or 5th round. And that's a guy that he said could be like a diamond in the rough kind of guy. Somebody that's looking like a piece of coal. You squeeze them between your ass cheeks, and you got yourself a diamond. So he's my Jay Fine Law defensive player to watch. The out of the box sports entertainment offensive player to watch is Davante Adams. So the reason I picked Davante Adams this week is because he's been seeing a lot of double teams, and this is a game where he may not see any double teams or very few double teams. With guys like Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed on the outsides covering, those guys are more than likely to go one-on-one with Devontae. So we'll see what happens there if that opens it up for Devontae a little bit. If he can beat Sauce, it's going to be a really fun matchup to watch either way. So that's why I picked Devontae for the offense, out-of-the-box sports entertainment offensive player to watch. All right, so prediction time. So my prediction, I did it weeks ago, kind of changed it a little bit now because things have changed. I am picking the Raiders to win. I'm picking them to win 20-13. So there we go. You got the Raiders 20-13. The offense gets 20 points again, but it's a little bit more of a struggle this time. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a good game. I think the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell gets the ball more to the tight ends and Hunter Renfrow this game. Hunter Renfrow, Trey Tucker kind of, combination there. So, and Trey Tucker's kind of like a guy that's able to take the top off the defense like we had a few years ago with Trey. He's in jail. I can't get a car accident. The speeder. I can't think of his name right now. I thought about it earlier. I'm like, no, I'll wait to say it. But anyway, he's a lot like him, able to take the top off the defense. Great speed downfield, and that opens up a lot of stuff underneath when he's on the field because right away you're thinking he's going deep. We need to watch deep, so you have safeties covering him. You have people rotating coverage, so that should open some more things up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead through a couple comments here. Eileen says she was so mad. Probably the Giants game, probably, or was it the Chargers game? That game made my blood boil. It was probably the Giants game. Last year, he was a rookie. That's Garrett Wilson. A really good wide receiver, very good wide receiver. It's kind of a bummer that I was 100% honest with you. I was rooting for the Jets this year. I wanted to see the Jets do well. I wanted to see Aaron Rodgers do well. So it was a real big bummer where, after 4 plays or whatever it was, goes down with the torn Achilles. Really a big bummer. They made more mistakes fumbling than they did all last year. Stuff like that happens. It just expectations and all of a sudden stuff just doesn't go right, and it just builds and builds and builds and just keeps piling on. So you kind of well, when is this going to stop? But again, they're 4-4. They're sitting there right in the thick of it. So you just never know. If they're able to beat the Raiders this week, find themselves on a little bit of a run. Aaron Rodgers is really pushing to get back. Later in the season. So we'll see what happens. If Aaron Rodgers does come back later in the season, I don't know if he's going to be ready anyway. It's one of those things you barely played any preseason, if at all. I don't remember if you played any preseason. You come in, you play the first game for a handful of plays, and then you're out. They're almost a whole season. So, I don't know if he'll be game ready anyway. Rob says, I guess the NFL thinks it's too early to flex games. You're 100% right, Ken. When they made the schedule, they were envisioning a Jimmy G versus Aaron Rodgers matchup. Yeah. I think this might be the first week where you can flex games. But they have to decide a couple of days beforehand, and I guess they left it alone. You look at it, it's not a terrible game. Jets 4-4, Raiders 4-5. So the records they're in the mix for the playoffs, both teams. And there's a little bit more. There's a little bit of intrigue with the Raiders, the interim staff and the rookie quarterback, and the Jets are the Jets. The Jets are going to draw. They are going to draw. There is a big following for the Jets, and so I think a couple factors went into it. And it is early in the season yet, so it's if this game is played, let's say late December, mid-December, and both teams are around 500, I'm not sure if it gets on or not. Adam says the Jets beat the Eagles, the best team in the NFL. And that's what I said earlier. They've played some good games, They had that 3-game winning streak against Eagles, Broncos, and Giants. They beat the Broncos by 10, 31-21, beat Philly 20-14, and the Giants 13-10. If I remember, Philly just played really, really bad, and that's a product of a good defense. When your offense just doesn't look right. And that's right. The Jets did beat the Giants. I'm sorry. That's my bad, Eileen. So what were you mad at then? What was it? The San Diego game? It had to be the San Diego game then. There's quite a few Jets fans online that were mad about the San Diego game. But even the Giants game, from what I understand, it wasn't a very pretty game to watch. It wasn't obviously with the score of 13-10 in overtime, it wasn't a barn burner, but sometimes you can get a nice 13-10 game that's still exciting. But from everything I understand, it wasn't a very good game anyway. All right. So that's what I have for the Raiders. I'm going to move on to the Kings here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and do my sponsor reads. And then we're going to move on to a little bit of Kings talk for a couple minutes. Because I know all you guys are hockey fans out there. At least one of my teams are doing well right now, so I'll take it. I'll take it. You got to take it when you can. So we'll start off with the first sponsor, our OG sponsor, the original GOAT here, Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. They have 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The office is located in the Garden State of New Jersey is located Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. Then in the steel city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there, 412-365-8151. Then in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The office is located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Then we're going to move on to Monkey Colt Coffee. Head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Get yourself some coffee, some very good coffee. The OG coffee there is the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, fantastic. The toasted coconut rum, fantastic. The Sumatran blend, which is a medium roast coffee, fantastic. You can get that whole bean or ground. Love them all. The newest blend, organic blend, Perula, Florida, I have not tried yet. So I'm still working on it. That's part of their global gourmet collection. Head over to their website, monkeycoltcoffee.com. Check out all the tasting notes and the flavors that are involved in their newest blend. It sounds delicious. It sounds fantastic. I can't wait to try it. They also have a couple newer coffee blends that they're working on that should be out maybe later this month, early next month. So stay tuned for that. So once you fill your little virtual shopping cart up with all this coffee, head on over to their swag shop. Get yourself all swaggy. Get a T-shirt, a Monkey Colt Coffee T-shirt with Roderick on it. That's their mascot. They got coffee mugs, tumblers. I love the tumbler and the coffee mug. The tumbler's out of this world. Keeps the coffee hot, longer. Their cold brew pitcher, which is a pretty cool setup there. Make cold brew coffee really easy. They also have K-Cup adapters for all you K-Cup owners out there. And also, don't forget, once you load it up the shopping cart with your swag, the Paradise Rum Cake. It's a terrific cake, moist, delicious. Dip it in your coffee. Why not, right? I dip everything. I ain't going to lie. You say it, I dip it. So get all that in your shopping cart. And at checkout, enter that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off at monkeycoltcoffee.com. Hey, it's me again. Excuse me. I got a comment here before I move on. Congratulations to the Kings for beating the Vegas Golden Knights Wednesday. The Golden Knights Kings series will be fun to watch this year. Absolutely. Both terrific teams. Golden Knights still leading the league in points early in the season, though, so it's not really it's too early to talk about that yet, even though I do have the standings I will talk about. I'll finish it off later on. Let me go ahead and switch my background up here real quick, get it all kingified. Let's kingify it. There we go. It's kingified now. We got the great one, Wayne Gretzky, and we got the captain, Andrzej Kopitar. There we go. All right. But yeah, so yeah, the Kings and Golden Knights, and so the Kings, as of right now, they have a seven game road win streak right now. They're taking that road win streak into Las Vegas before heading home. I was really nervous about that game because a couple days before the Golden Knights were undefeated. They ended up dropping a game to I think it was Anaheim. They ended up dropping a game to the Ducks before the Kings came into town. And so kind of like, I was like, okay, at least they're not undefeated. You had the undefeated road team against the undefeated overall team. But the Kings were able to go into Vegas and they took care of business. A 4-1 win. I didn't see that coming. Our goalie Cam Talbot has been super hot lately, playing out of his mind. I know he got a shutout against Philly 5-0. Allowed one goal. I should have wrote it down. I don't remember who it was. One goal against who the hell was it? Philly? Was it New Jersey? No, it wasn't New Jersey. Pittsburgh. One goal against Pittsburgh. I don't think it was Pittsburgh either. I don't know. It doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter. That's going to piss me off now. That's what it's going to do. I'm going to go to my telephone and look it up. But he allowed one goal before the Flyers, the shutout the Flyers, and one goal against against Vegas. He's been outstanding this whole season so far. Looking at Cam Talbot's stats, he's 7-2-1 with 2.03 goals against, which is fantastic, and a 930 save percentage, .930 save percentage. Yeah, out of this world. So let me look it up here real quick because it's going to bother me. Okay, it was 3-2 against the Senators. So it was 2 goals. I'm sorry. It was 1 goal against the Leafs. So he allowed 1 goal against the Maple Leafs, and it was 2 against the Senators, shutout against the Flyers, and 1 goal to the Golden Knights. Then the Kings go home, and then they can't win again. So they end up losing last night to Pittsburgh in overtime. So they still get the point. So that's good. They earned at least 1 point 8 games in a row now. So like I just mentioned before, 7-0 on the road. After they beat Vegas Golden Knights 4-1. Kempe has scored a goal in 4 of his last 5 games, so he's starting to heat up, goal scoring wise anyway. So he's starting to heat up. Our number 1 line is looking really good with Quentin Byfield, Andrzej Kopitar, and Adrian Kempe. So I really like with Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala's on the first line. Kempe's the second line, I believe. Quentin Byfield looked fantastic. He hasn't been scoring a lot of goals. I think he only has 2 goals this season. But the last 6 games, 8 assists. He's one of our points leaders now. So he's really coming along after being a rookie last year, kind of struggling a little bit in the goal department. But I thought he played well last year. He got a lot of heat last year because he wasn't putting the goals in, and the guys that were picked after him, I don't remember who they were exactly. But there's a couple guys that were picked right after him. We're just killing it last season. So a lot of the fans were just like, why didn't we pick this guy? We got Quentin Byfield, can't score a goddamn goal. So the one thing the Kings are doing really well this year, again, it's like last season, blocking shots and not letting the puck get to the goalie. Sometimes I thought that was a little bit of a hindrance last season. especially early in the season with Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick in goal. I felt like the Kings were there blocking a lot of shots, but they were also blocking their goalie a little bit. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. That's just watching the game, being a little bit of a hockey noob. I used to watch hockey a lot when I was a kid, or a teenager. But it was years since I was started watching hockey, and since I watched hockey, and I just started watching it again like 2 years ago. So I'm still a bit of a noob, still learning a lot. I really love watching the game, though. It's fantastic. You got the speed, the agility, hitting, fighting. It's crazy goaltending, some fantastic puck handling. Hockey's good stuff. So if you're not a hockey fan, just give hockey a shot. I'll tell you, pick yourself a team, and pick yourself a good team. All right, don't go pick I don't know, the Senators, or there's somebody out there with no wins. I think it was the Sharks or something like that. So don't pick one of those teams. Pick yourself a good team. It's a little bit more exciting to watch. But yeah, hockey's a lot of fun. But still, our fourth line still contributing at a good pace. I mentioned last week how it seems like all four lines for the Kings were pretty much contributing almost evenly points wise. Goals and assists and stuff like that. It's starting to separate a little bit, but still the third and fourth line still contributing. Well. Blake Lizotte had a decent game last night. I listened to the game a little bit while I was at work. Blake Lizotte, did all right last night. Grunstrom had another goal last night, so I think I think Grunstrom's the third line. I could be wrong about that though. So going over some stats right now, our points leader as of right now is Adrian Kempe, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. Then you have Anze Kopitar, the captain, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. Kevin Fiala, 2 goals. Those goals are going to come. He's a goal scorer, but they're going to come. 2 goals, 12 points, 14. 2 goals, 12 assists, 14 points. Quentin Byfield, only 2 goals, but 10 assists, so he is at 12 points. Trevor Moore, playing fantastic. 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points. P.L. Dubois, our pickup, our big offseason acquisition through trade this year from Quebec. He's 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Grunstrom, 5 goals. Drew Doughty, 4 goals. I really like the way the rookie Leferrier is playing. I really like the way he's playing. England on defense, he's playing really well. Yeah, there's nothing to not like about this Kings team right now. They're playing fast. They're playing loose. Everybody's contributing. Just throwing the puck at the net. They're playing with speed. They switched their penalty kill up this year. As watching a video on it, I think it was, where they went to like a diamond scheme. And again, I don't understand it totally, but it appears to be helping them this season. Last year they really struggled in the penalty kill. This year they're doing a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's a work in progress. And because the video I was watching was showing the flaws to the diamond scheme, but it's also showing the strengths to it. And it's just like a rotation, always like where the puck was going, like a diamond rotating. You have the one guy up on the point, 2 on the outside, and the 1 protecting the goalie. It does occasionally leave a back end shot coming open, so then that's what they're showing. But still, it's much better than last season. Phoenix Copley absolutely struggling right now, our backup goalie. So he was outstanding last year. So I don't understand what's going on there. But he's at 1-0-2, 1 win, no losses, 2 overtimes, 2 overtime losses, I guess. 4.58 goals against, 792 save percentage, which is awful. That's really, really bad. That's you're going down to the minors bad. That's what happened to Cal Peterson last year. That's what happened to Jonathan Quick. Got traded away. That's the kind of stuff that they had going on. And he was the goalie last night against Pittsburgh. He had to give Cam Talbot a rest. I think he played 6 straight games, and so they had to give Cam Talbot a rest, bring Phoenix Copley in, and he struggled. I think the Penguins only had like 17, 18 shots or something like that, and he gave up 4 goals. So it's a bummer. The Penguins are a good team. The record doesn't show right now, but they've been struggling at goalie as well. So it's not like they lost to a scrub team. Penguins are a decent team. Sid the Kid still got it. Evgeny Malkin and stuff like that. One thing to mention, Andrzej Kopitar scored his 400th goal against the Vegas Golden Knights. Is an empty netter, but it's still that's a hell of a milestone. 400 goals. He also broke, I think it was the Kings assist record. He's either assist or points. I think it was assist. He broke the Kings assist record recently, and I think it was last week or something like that, 2 weeks ago. Congratulations there. And he also broke the most games played as a King. So, passing former teammate Dave Brown. So, yeah, things are looking good. Go over the standings real quick. In the Pacific Division is being led by the Vegas Golden Knights at 11-2-1, 23 points. Vancouver surprisingly sitting there at number 2, 10-2-1, again, early in the season, 21 points. LA sitting in third place right now, 8-2-3 with 19 points. And you have Anaheim, again, surprisingly, usually they're bottom feeders, 7-5-0 with 14 points. Overall, the Western Conference, you have Vegas leading, followed by Vancouver and LA. Then you have Dallas at 8-3-1 with 17 points. Colorado 8-4-0, 16 points. And Winnipeg Jets 7-4-2 with 16 points. So that's what I got on the LA Kings. Playing very good hockey right now, early in the season. Really like Cam Talbot. He's an older goalie, so they got to kind of watch how many games he's playing early on here. But everything you see so far has been outstanding. If Phoenix Copley continues the way he's going, I think they're going to have to make a change with the backup goalie. And I don't know if they do that in-house because they did pick up I think they picked up a goalie in the offseason. I want to say it's Porcello, but I can't remember if it was him or somebody else. They picked up a guy from Buffalo last season as well, a young guy who's supposed to be really good. He's a tall guy. I don't know if that might actually be Porcello. I'm not sure. I could guess all day, and you guys will believe me because you guys don't know anything about the Kings. So I just make names up. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm not going to do that. That's poor journalism. So I'll just sit here and struggle trying to remember names and scratch my head. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and as long as they continue, puck movement, playing fast, playing loose, the Kings will be there again at the end. Well, not at the end, but at playoff time, they'll be in the playoffs again, and hopefully we are able to get out of the first round. Edmonton sitting near the bottom right now, but that'll change. A lot's going to change. Like Edmonton last year, they were kind of lingering in the middle until the second half of the season, and they blew everybody's doors off. Vegas was consistent last year, consistently at the top. The Kings were consistently at the top as well. So I know that the Avalanche last year, they were kind of in the middle. Then in the second half, they were able to climb the ladder late and make some moves and get hot at the right time. That's all I got. That's all I have. So let me go ahead and read the show schedule for the rest of the week here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Got to find it. There it is. I read it on the Batcave Wednesday, and I'll read it now. So Friday, tonight at 10:30 p.m., you have the Sixers versus Pistons postgame show. Then you have the Atomic Drop podcast talking WWE wrestling with myself and Cowboy Dave Yarnell, the showstopper. That's going to be following the Sixers versus Pistons postgame show. So as soon as that's over, we'll be hopping on 5-10 minutes afterwards. It's closer to 11 o'clock, whatever, But if it's still going on, we'll wait till it's done and we'll hop on. But anyway, I digress. Saturday, 11 a.m., you have the Golden Dome podcast with your Notre Dame football talk pregame. 4:30 p.m., the postgame Golden Dome Notre Dame versus Wake Forest postgame. Sunday, 11 a.m., the Big Blue Power Hour. 1 p.m., Cowboys versus Panthers pregame. 4:30 p.m., Cowboys versus Panthers postgame. And 7:45 p.m., Sixers versus Pacers postgame. And coming real soon, we have a new show, Come and Keep It Real podcast. A couple of great ladies that were on the Atomic Drop podcast last week. They'll be coming over to the Out of the Box Sports Entertainment Network, and they'll be talking some wrestling. So we'll have another wrestling show here. Get some different viewpoints there from myself and Dave, and I'm sure we'll get on each other's shows occasionally and talk some wrestling. So I think they're going to cover a little bit more wrestling than Dave and I just cover the basic WWE, Raw, SmackDown. I think these ladies might cover a little bit more like AEW and WWE and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And they were funny. They were they knew what they were talking about when they were on the Atomic Drop podcast. So they did a great job. So I'm excited to see what they can bring to the Out of the Box Sports Entertainment Network. You can check us out. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, of X, formerly known as Twitter, and Twitch. We're also on the Instagram and TikTok. So get on to the X and start twatting your stuff out. It's not tweeting anymore because it's not Twitter, so it's twatting because it's X. Because you can't call it Xing, and I don't like posting because I post on Facebook. I don't post on Twitter. I twat on Twitter or X. X, that's what I meant to say. I twat on X. So I'm a twatter. All right, so that's all I got for today. I'm done spewing gibberish at you. Let me find the show. There it is. All right, thanks for checking the show out, guys. I appreciate it very much. Go Raiders. Go Kings. I hope the Jets lose. I hope the Kings continue playing well. I got a comment. That's why I kept talking. And the comment is Eileen. She's laughing about twatter, no doubt. She likes to twatter. It is funny. It is funny. I like it. I'm going to continue to use it. I got to remember to keep using it, though. All right, that's all I got. I'm getting out of here. Go Raiders, just win, baby, and go Kings, go. See you guys later. Thank you very much. See you tonight.